Hey guys, and welcome to part 2 of university applications for physiotherapy. So if you are watching this video now, I am guessing you're in the interview stage of the application process. And first of all, well done for getting it this far. It means that your application, so your personal statement that you wrote, must have been so good that they want to get to know you better. They've progressed you on to the interview stage. So well done for getting it this far. Now we just need to try and get into the course of physiotherapy. So these tips I'm going to give you are based on my own experience being interviewed for a physiotherapy course. I got into the interview stage for all of my universities that I applied to for physiotherapy, and I got offers from all but one. I got 4 out of 5, so 80% of them, which is pretty good. So it means that my interview stage must have been good for 4 universities to consider me. So yeah. Hey guys, it's Trezor, where I talk, discuss, and chat about life and share my own personal experiences as well. I also sprinkle in a little bit of travel, some study with me's, and some read with me's. So if that matches your vibe, subscribe to join the club. Anyways, let's get back into the aim of this video, which is to give you guys tips on physiotherapy interviews if you want to study physiotherapy in university. So first things first, I think the most important thing you should do first is to read your personal statement and to review it, just so that you know what you wrote in there. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes the person that's interviewing you might have your personal statement right in front of them. So they might want to just clarify some stuff that you've said in your personal statement. So it's just good to know it and to just be prepared to know, okay, what things did I actually say in it? So make sure to just do a brief read of your personal statement so that you know what you wrote in case they ask you questions about it. So the very first question that they will always ask you is, why do you want to study physiotherapy? Or why do you want to become a physiotherapist? Because at the end of the day, after doing a physiotherapy degree, you will then become a qualified physiotherapist. Just like if you do a nursing degree, you will then become a qualified nurse. And like if you do medicine, you will then become a qualified doctor. So they are going to ask you, why do you want to become a physiotherapist? Or why do you want to study physiotherapy? And there are many answers to this, and you would have probably answered it in your personal statement. So that's why it's good to reread your personal statement, because all you're just going to do is just say what you wrote in your personal statement. There's no wrong or right answer to this. I see it more as a icebreaker sort of question, just to get you to relax, and you should know the answer to that, as I said, because you wrote it in your personal statement. So it's just saying what you wrote in your personal statement, basically. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Don't overthink it. Just say what you wrote on your personal statement. So then the next follow-up question they can ask you is, why do you want to study in this particular university? And guys, this is where you can really shine here. Like, this is your moment to sparkle and to shine bright like a diamond. These are the sort of points that you can mention. Did you go for any open days? Talk about that. Have you done some reading into the modules that are in the physiotherapy course for that university? Is there any of the modules in there that interest you? And why? Why does it interest you? And if you want to take it a step further, something that I did anyway, is to talk about any research the university has done related to physiotherapy. Perhaps maybe the university is doing a research on the effects of virtual reality on the rehabilitation of people after a stroke. And that's going to make you stand out from the other candidates that you are competing with. Anything to make you stand out is good. Then the next question that they will probably ask you is, what do you know about physiotherapy, or something along those lines? Again, this is your moment to shine. If you want shining for the university question, you will shine here. Like, you won't just sparkle, you will shine. You will shine as bright as the sun. So when answering this question, it's important to first mention the three core specialties of physiotherapy. And that is musculoskeletal, MSK, cardiorespiratory, and neurological. Those are the three core main specialties of physiotherapy. And then you can talk about the other specialties. You have women's health, you have pediatrics, you have military, you have so on and so forth. You have burns, you have so many other specialties, because that's going to show to you that you have done a lot of research on physiotherapy and on the physiotherapy course, and you understand that being a physiotherapist is not just sports, for instance. There is more specialties that you can work in as a physiotherapist. And this is going to be important because when you are on clinical placements, your clinical placements typically throughout your 3 years in university or 4 years you're in university, or 2 years if you're doing MSc masters, you are going to be put in different specialties. And then another question that I'm sure they're likely going to ask you is something along the lines of, what are the qualities of a physiotherapist, or what are the qualities that a physiotherapist must have, or something along those lines. And again, this is also where you can shine here. So there are lots of directions you can go with this answer, but I feel like the easiest way to answer this question and to make sure that you get all your points across is to remember things like the 6 C's. So the 6 C's stands for care, compassion, competence, communication, courage, and commitment. By remembering those 6 C's, it can really help you structure your answers so that you know that you are ticking off each quality. And when you talk about each of the quality, link it to how that relates to being a good physiotherapist. So for instance, if you mention about communication, it's not good enough if you just say good communication skills is important. Okay, but why is it important? That's what you need to answer. You need to go a bit deeper into it. You need to understand the why. Because as a physiotherapist, you are going to be meeting patients of different walks of life, of different backgrounds, of different cultures, and potentially there might even be a language barrier. So it's very important to have good communication skills and interpersonal skills to be able to adapt your communication in a way for the patient to understand the assessment and the treatment that you are doing. And overall, it helps to provide a more patient-centered care. And also with communication as well, it's not just about communicating to patients, it's also about communicating to other members of your team, of your healthcare professional team, such as the nurses, such as the occupational therapists, doctors, discharge coordinators, social workers, and so many other members of the multidisciplinary team. Because yes, it's good to be able to communicate with your patients, but you also need to be able to communicate with the multidisciplinary team, verbally and also written down on paper, because you will be documenting notes as a physiotherapist, and it's very important that when you do document your notes, which is a form of communication, that you are able to document it in a way for other members of the MDT to understand. Because miscommunication within the MDT team can potentially jeopardize a patient's safety. And patient safety is in the utmost of our priorities. And also, to even step it a bit further from there, also include examples as to how you've shown those qualities as well. So for instance, if you're talking about team working skills, talk about how you have those qualities. Are you part of a team? Do you play a sport? Do you play football? Football requires that team working approach, doesn't it? How do you show being compassionate? How do you show that you care? Do you help out in your community? Do you do some sort of volunteering work? Are you open and honest about what you know and what you don't know? Are you committed to learning? How have you shown that you're committed to learning? Are you organized? How do you show that you're organized? Are you able to adapt in stressful environments? How have you been able to show that? So for every quality of a good physiotherapist, talk about how that links to a physiotherapist, and also how that relates and links to you and how you exhibit those qualities. And another tip I will give you as well is to look at the NHS constitution and its values, because the NHS values are going to tell you the qualities that a good practicing healthcare professional should have. And I say NHS in particular because if you are planning to go to a university in the UK, your clinical placements, at least one of them, or if not all of them, are going to be within an NHS trust in an NHS hospital. So it's important to be familiar with the NHS constitution and its values, because as a physiotherapist, you need to embody those NHS values. Then at the end of the interview, they will ask you whether you have any questions. And I always say yes, because I think it's good practice to have one or two questions in the back of your mind that you are going to use for these interviews. These questions could be something related to the module. So perhaps maybe you did some looking into the modules that they do for physiotherapy and you were interested in one of the particular modules and you just want to know a little bit more about it. That's one. You could also potentially even talk about maybe the clinical placements. Have a question about that. Are the clinical placements going to be varied as much as the specialties of physiotherapy? Would I have opportunities to have placements in other specialties? You can also ask about that. So those are the main tips off the top of my head that I'm giving to you to prepare for your university interview. So make sure you have examples of how you embody some of the qualities of a good physiotherapist, and even with those qualities, how it links to being a good physiotherapist. So how does communication skills, how does working in a stressful environment help with being a physiotherapist, or being a good physiotherapist? And how does all of those qualities link to you? And have one or two questions prepared if they ask you whether you have any questions at the end. And just remember that the people who are interviewing you are not trying to catch you out. They just want to know whether you are truly passionate and interested about physiotherapy and becoming a physiotherapist. I hope that was helpful. And if you've got an interview coming up soon, best of luck to you. Take some deep breaths. You will do fine. And good luck. You've got this. See you when I see you. And thank you.